Welcome back, everyone, to an exciting episode of Kicking It with Gab and Chooch.
I am Gab,
And I'm Chooch.
and we are back for the final episode of the season. Decided to wait it out till the Friday. A couple things, going on, end of the season stuff. Wanted to settle down, see what happened with what. We are not necessarily fully through the end of the season for some teams, such as like Man City and Manchester United both have the FA Cup final, so no, real big decisions or real moves made there as of yet. Although the rumor is that Ten Hag will be out. Nothing necessarily new as of right now, but there was some sackings, a lot of movement, a lot of coach movement that we're seeing. So we'll cover those at the end of this episode. Also going to talk about the Euro squad for England. Championship Sunday, of course, and our awards of the season. So let's hop in to our awards of the season. Who do you got?
Banger of the season. Boy, Garnacho. I was telling Gab earlier before we started. I said, "There's this. When you think of banger of the season, Garnacho's goal is the first one that just comes to mind. It was so iconic. It's up there. It's up there, buddy.
Absolutely. That one is one of the best goals of the Premier League for sure. Right up there, brings you right back to Rooney's bicycle kick. That's one of the most iconic ones ever. And, up there. So it's pretty up there. Unreal goal. He gets my banger of the season. He gets Chooch's banger of the season. And my player of the season, I have Phil Foden, of course, who actually won player of the season. I am going to definitely give a shout to Cole Palmer and Mohamed Kudus would be my next one. Um, just Kudus really just kind of shined. I mean, he made the move from Ajax to the Premier League. Took a little bit of adjustment for a bit, but he absolutely balled out all season. We saw his last goal. He gets goal of the week for me, outside of Phil Foden's goal, but can't go Phil Foden every category. It's too much bias. But Kudus' bicycle kick was quite unreal last day of the last championship Sunday. And we'll go with our final disappointment of the season. Who do you have? Could be player, team, whatever you think.
I'm gonna go with. I feel like it is a bit. It makes sense why I think he's the flop of the season just because what happened and he didn't have much impact. But I'm going to say Tonali just because there was so much leading up to him and Newcastle that they were supposed to do all this, and then he gets himself in trouble, doesn't play, and because of that, I think it's right to call him a flop because he was the main reason. Newcastle had all this hype around them, and
Yeah.
because of that, they missed a crucial player, a big time
Yeah.
player.
And they played quite well in the preseason as well with him, looking really, really good with him at the start of the season. But yeah, definitely one of the disappointments of the season. Mine would go out to two attacking players, both played for the same team. I'm going to go Marcus Rashford and Anthony. My two biggest disappointments of the season. Rashford left out of the England squad. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But really, just an underwhelming season. Really, the only thing that you could think about Rashford this season is the one goal against Man City. That was an absolute banger from outside the box. Outside of that, hasn't really done much. Anthony, absolutely a ghost all season. Got one goal involvement as with an assist, but credit to him, he did play a little bit better there towards the end. But Rashford's just been poor all season.
Big shouts. That's a big shout.
Yeah, big shots. I'm gonna throw one more in there with a surprise or a shocker of the season. Um, Team maybe wise or player wise. I think for me, player wise, I would go Hudson Odoi, even though I have hyped him up. You never really live to see it. You never really, you talk about a player, they're going to be so good, this, that. You hype them up, but then, sometimes it doesn't always work out. And Phil Foden for me. I was hyping up Phil Foden. I was hyping up Hudson Odoi all season, and they came and balled out this season. Phil Foden being the best player in the world at this second, and then Callum Hudson-Odoi really proved himself for sure this season. What do you? Uh,
So, if you, it's like, no, I wouldn't say disappointment, but I would say just Luton. There's so much hype. They could stay up as well.
yeah,
I was really hoping to stay up just because of everything. Um, but we saw Ross Barkley ball out, and he's linked to a big move.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, Ross Barkley, huge season for him. Return to glory, even almost just as good as any other season he's ever had. It looked like, but let's hop into our Championship Sunday recap because it was absolutely huge. Arsenal versus Everton did end in a draw. Uh, Absolutely, nuts in general. Um, it was a game that Ivan or Chooch had called, said, just watch out for Everton. Just watch out for Everton. They're gonna shock everyone. They're gonna do this. Actually, it didn't end up in a draw. Arsenal won, but it was 1-0 at first, and it was just I was shocked for a minute. Arsenal then came back, scored. It was draw for quite a bit, and then Arsenal did end up winning, but didn't matter at the end of the day. We had it capped off with Manchester City beating West Ham 3-1, and what was a pretty good game in itself. Phil Foden with 2 goals. Rodri, the clutchest man of them all, puts it away for the final, and they win it for the four-peat. It was an absolutely mental day. Huge celebrations, 4 in a row, never been done. Now we're shooting for five. Uh,
We'll
uh,
become a farmers league.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Let even UEFA won't give the Premier League an extra Champions League spot. Allegedly, I guess maybe a Farmers League. It's starting to look like, but no, definitely top challenging from Arsenal, Liverpool this season. That's been good. Even Tottenham at some point, but we had a lot of games that were outside of that, big crucial ones for placement. But those were the major two for the weekend, and it finished with Man City on top of the league once again. Well, let's move into those placement games. You had a 4-2 win from Newcastle over Brentford. Not really a meaningful game outside of, Newcastle and Manchester United's placement, which Newcastle took on goal differential. Manchester United beat Brighton 2-0. Nothing, no major surprises there. Ten Hag gets a final win for the season. And the next one, I think, was an absolute Burnley Forest at Burnley. We knew Forest had to lose 6-0. Didn't happen. They went up early and kept the lead. 2-1 win. Burnley go down in shame. Forest stay up just barely.
oh.
Yeah, just barely. But Forest will lose. They will lose a couple of loan players that they had this season. So we'll see what happens with them. They would be one of my teams to watch, obviously, for next season in the relegation battle. Um, Next one we had another big placement game: Chelsea Bournemouth. Chelsea get the 2-1 win over Bournemouth, and then
And secured sixth.
yeah, secure sixth place. We are hoping for a fifth with the Sheffield loss though to Tottenham 3-0.
Was never
We knew,
happening.
yeah, we knew it wasn't going to happen, but there was a sliver of hope. There was a sliver of hope that they could have done it.
Minuscule.
Yeah, but it did not happen. We had a 3-0 win with Tottenham. Going into the next game, we had Fulham beating Luton 4-2. Luton obviously needed the 6-0 win and the 6-0 loss from Forest, which did not happen. Did not even come close. And that's a wrap for Luton. Moving into
Shame.
the next and last two, we had Crystal Palace absolutely obliterate Aston
Dog.
Villa. Yeah, it was just absolutely quite unreal. It just goes to show Palace's form as of late. Felipe Mateta got 2 goals, and then Eze got his own as well.
I think this is a
Um,
hat trick.
I think so. Oh yeah, he
Yeah, I
did.
think.
Yeah, he did have a hat trick. Olise with an assist. Eze, actually Mateta got a hat trick and an assist. Um, so really good game for him. Villa didn't necessarily play their best players. They did play most of them, but few youngsters in there. But either way, 5-0 is quite atrocious. So,
Absolutely. That was a good game.
yeah. And then the final, the Klopp farewell 2-0 win against the Wolves. No goals in the second half. Both goals just before the first half. Klopp gets his not fairy tale ending, but it still was a really, really good way to be sent off. The new Liverpool kids, we saw Trent crying at the ceremony. Klopp singing, praise for the new manager that's coming in. And, man, just been quite unreal journey for him. You know, he did a lot of good things for Liverpool. We really don't know if
Brought
they'll.
them out the mud.
Yeah, he brought them out the mud. We have no clue what Liverpool will really look like moving forward. Obviously, they have a lot of good players, a lot of good talent. There's been questions surrounding Mohamed Salah for the last season and a half, what he will do. They were saying Van Dijk was finished before the Carabao Cup. The last 2 seasons, um, Trent's positioning, obviously, that's been a major one for them, his health. A lot of questions coming to them, but we'll see what happens. But definitely, Klopp gets his good farewell with the win, and yeah, that was at home as well. So really good, really big for him. And that is it for the Championship Sunday. Manchester City prevail. Predictions for next season. I'm obviously going Man City once again for 5th in a row. Never been done. May never be done again. But I'm going for 5th in the row. Favorites, obviously. I think right there with us could potentially be Tottenham. Arsenal will still be there. Um, these are way too early predictions. Arsenal will be
Me
there.
too.
I'm gonna go Chelsea. I'm gonna throw Chelsea in there, even though they're a little bit of a disaster always. Manchester United, I think, will return to good form, and then not exactly sure with Liverpool, but I'm gonna put Liverpool at my 5 spot, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, way too early predictions. Love those.
Me too.
Let's
I will be. Now the nothing is certain already.
yeah. Let's have a look before we get into all the drama, all the rumors, everything going on. Let's talk real quick about the Euro squad that was just announced. 2 days ago. We saw, let's see, with the goalkeepers, Gareth Southgate selected Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford, Aaron Ramsdale, and James Trafford. Really good names. I think James Trafford is a really good one. That was a little bit slept on. He did have that double save in the U21, I think, World Cup. Has been really good for them. Pickford, obviously, I believe, is a starter. Obviously, should be. Dean Henderson, though, I'm not sure. Ramsdale, not sure. It's just those two. They have to trim the team down. They released 30. They have to trim, or they said they were going to trim the team down to 26. So if you're thinking cutting four guys,
One from each position.
I would assume, yeah, one keeper will have to go.
One
I think
defender,
Ramsdale stays in
one
though. I think
midfielder.
I would keep Ramsdale in
I
as
feel
my
like
second
either,
choice.
yeah, I feel like it'd probably be James Trafford that's going to get the short end of the stick.
Could be, yeah. Defenders though, I thought they went really, really well. Um, Kyle Walker, Kerryon Trippier, John Stones, Luke Shaw, Gerald Kwanzaa from Liverpool. That was a pretty good one. You know, played well towards the end of the season. Harry Maguire, like always. Ezri Konsa, really good season for Aston Villa. Mark Gahey seems to be back in shape, I guess. Joe Gomez always there. Lewis Dunk always good for me, and then Jared Branthwaite. It's pretty good, solid selection. I don't see any weaknesses. I do think if one person was to get the short end of the stick, it'd be Mark Gahey, just because of, he hasn't played much as of recent, or even John Stones. I've been talking about John Stones, his legs. It's been tough for him as of late. He got injured. The game he came back, his conditioning was a little. He was throwing up everywhere. Hadn't seen an appearance since then. So we'll see what happens, but I really think John Stones or Mark Gahey would be one of the ones to go.
Good. Some decent misses as well. I definitely feel like Eric Dyer deserved the call up. He
Yeah,
absolutely picked up form at the end of the season playing for Bayern. We saw him in the Champions League semis playing pretty good. And, well, I guess he just doesn't get along with Southgate or something. I
yeah, I don't
mean,
know what it is.
yeah, and they
Yeah, I
only
don't know.
have, they're going in with only one left back, or one, oh no, left back, Luke Shaw, who's been in and out the whole year.
Yeah. Yeah, quite unsure. They said that he would be fit for the Euros, but yeah, hasn't played much as well. I am a bit. I really liked Livramento over the course of the season. Youngster playing, left back, right back, so any type of fullback. The versatility of him would have been good. He is really young, but I feel like maybe you could have gone like uh, Kwanzaa or Konsa and replaced him for a Livramento just because of the, ability to play either side. But I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold did get put in the midfielder section, so still possibilities there. I know Trippier will play both sides. Kyle Walker will play anywhere on the back line, 100%. So we'll see what happens there. But moving into the midfielders, Trent Alexander-Arnold, you know, obviously just the talent. Conor Gallagher absolutely deserved it. Uh, Curtis Jones, that one was a
It,
little bit of a shocker for me, but he
it,
played really well. Yeah,
yeah, I feel like Smith picked it up at the end of the season. Started playing really well. I feel like it was very deserved. Uh, same with Adam Wharton. Huge call up for him. He might get the short end of it when they reduce the squad, but still, like, good for him that he got into the provisional squad.
yeah, yeah. I think the only okay. So Curtis Jones, we had Kobe Manu, obvious choice, played really well all season. Declan Rice, obvious choice, and Adam Wharton. I really think for me, one of the biggest misses was maybe a Harvey Elliott for Curtis Jones. Harvey Elliott has played unreal all season. His talent, his ability to strike the ball from outside the box, it's been quite unreal. I thought he deserved a call up here for the Euros.
How old is Harvey Elliott? He's
I believe
he's
he is.
21, so I think he'll probably go to the Olympics.
Maybe, yeah, I'm sure
Misses
he will,
why?
but I
And
still
then
think you could have had Curtis Jones. You could have sent, I don't know. The Curtis Jones one is probably the biggest mystery to me. Adam Wharton would be the next one. Yes, they played really well, but I mean, I guess you just need workhorses at some point, but the talent in Harvey Elliott's going to be a star. Tamori was a big miss out for me as well, but level of competition in Serie A, I can understand. Um, Moving into the forwards, we had a couple midfielders in there. So forwards, we had Jude Bellingham. Obviously, he is a number 9 these days. Um, Jared Bowen, always a good shout, always a good call up. Eze gets the call up as
Yep.
well. Huge one, well deserved. Big one. Phil Foden as well, player of the season. Phil Foden in the form of his life, right next to Jude Bellingham. That would be fantastic. Jack Grealish gets the call up as well. You know, ups and downs every season he has, but at the end of the day, he is a really, really good creator in the box for crosses and such. Um, Anthony Gordon, another big one for me. Really big shout for him. I'm a little bit surprised he got in just because of the level of quality they have, but he's been playing well all season. One of the only few, to score against every team in the Big Six this season, along his teammate Alexander Isak and Erling Haaland. Obviously, we have the one and only Harry Kane, who headlines the squad every time, automatic goal scorer, followed up by James Madison,
He was the guy who listed
another
under attacker.
Yeah, listed under attacker, but another great, great midfielder, attacking midfielder all season before he was injured. He was playing quite unreal. And then we have a big, big call up for Cole Palmer. Absolutely huge. The
Him and
level
Foden
of
can
talent.
coexist.
Yeah, him and Foden can coexist. I'm not sure Southgate will pick either of them. He would be on crack to not, but it'd be quite unreal to see, if Foden or Palmer weren't able to make it into the midfield somehow. Even
It'd be
Palmer, I
crim-
mean, on the right side plays extremely well. Foden, I definitely will just want to see him in the mid, but yeah, Bukayo Saka also automatic pick. Ivan Toney, surprising, really slow
despite
towards
the
the end of the
yeah,
season,
real so.
but still got the call up. I mean, he is excellent in my opinion. He's excellent no matter what. Even when he's not scoring goals, he's creating chances. And then Ollie Watkins, the automatic. It's like the poor man's Harry Kane. So really good back strikers there.
Yeah, definitely.
If I had to pick one from each position, I think that Eze would get the stick in the forwards. But I personally would go with Anthony Gordon. Um, Then I would move to Curtis Jones. Then I would move to Kwanzaa. Um, then I'd probably go. I feel like for me personally, I'd go Dean Henderson, but I think James Trafford will get the short end. If I had to pick, those would be my people out, and that would be England's squad just about. But we'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of options that Southgate has to run it. It'd be criminal if he doesn't play. You're the player of the year and the young player of the year. It would be absolute criminal.
Yeah. Some of the notable miss outs: Noni Madueke, Marcus Rashford,
Well,
um, Rico Lewis, Harvey Elliott, Trevor Chalaba played really well. Levi Colwill. Levi Colwill's been injured though. I mean,
yeah,
not any. I feel like if he were healthy, he'd be in the squad. Ben White, allegedly was not available according to Southgate. Um,
Tamori.
yeah, Tamori was another big one. Jaden Sancho with the seasons he's had.
That
Uh,
one was unreal to me. The fact that
yeah.
he he went from being exiled at Man United to he's gonna play in a Champions League final.
While being one of the
Abs-
most dominant players on the pitch for his team during that. Quite crazy. A lot of Dortmund players have been left out of their international teams right now. It's quite unreal. Um, yeah, I think that's all the notable misses for me there. I'm sure there's maybe one or two others that we missed out on. Nick Pope, I thought was one. He is back on the bench, for Newcastle. So that's one
Uh,
that I thought could have been selected as well.
the other one I can think of. No, yeah, I think there's two. Solanke missed
Mhm.
out. I feel like he should have been in front of Tony, Gibbs White as well. Um, obviously Forrest struggled, but he was very crucial to helping them out. Um, and I think that's basically
Yeah,
everyone.
I did see the Gibbs White his post that just clown faces. But at the end of the day, that's not what England football's looking for. I mean, to not get picked to go on the socials like that, that's definitely never gonna help your case to get picked moving forward. It's quite unreal that he even did that, but I mean, young age, so what? It is what it is. But I mean, look at the talent in the midfield. And he would be considered, he plays everywhere as well, so he could be even considered in the forwards. I mean, who would you replace him with? I mean in the midfield maybe yeah, maybe like Curtis Jones or Adam Morton, but in those attackers, I mean, just about every one of those guys is just as elite, if not better, than Gibbs White.
Will be interesting. Uh, and then, like we said, we'll have to wait and see for the Olympics team because I think
Yeah.
they're allowed three senior players, so
Yeah.
it should be
Let's
interesting in who they take. Who knows? Maybe they take like a Solanke who missed out.
yeah. Let's have a look here. Let me pull up the Portugal squad right here that was just announced the other day. I think it was yesterday. Okay, well, Italy pulled up a squad. Donnarumma, Merritt, Vicario, Provedel. Vicario's huge one. Should be in it 100%. Defense was Acerbi, Bastoni, Belonova, Bigiorno, Calafori, Cambasio, Darmian, Di Lorenzo, DeMarco, Mancini, Scalvini. Oh, midfielders Nico Barella, Cristianti, Fagioli, Foloruncio, Fratesi, Jorginho, Pellegrini, Risi, and then on the attack we had Chiesa, El Shaarawy, Orsolini, Raspadori, Retegui, and Scamacca and Zaccagini. Let's go back. Where is the Portugal squad? Cristiano Ronaldo did make the team with perhaps I would say one of the best Portugal lineups he's been a part of.
Yeah, I feel like this midfield is super strong, and he has
Yeah,
great. Yeah, because I'm looking at it right now. Diego Costa, Jose Sa, Ro Patricio. Uh, I'm interested in seeing who they go with at keeper. And then defenders strong as well. Uh, Danilo, Dalot, Ignacio, who's been linked with, a big move um, to Barca. João Cancelo, Semedo, Nunes, Pepe still got called up. He's still playing, and Ruben Diaz, of course.
yeah, it's
And
a
then
really strong defense,
yeah,
100%.
yeah, I would definitely say this is one of the better Portugal sides we've seen in a while. Midfielders, we got Bruno, João Neves, João Palhinha, Otavio, Neves, and Vitinha. And the forwards, Bernardo Silva, but he can be a midfielder as well. Ronaldo, Jota, Francisco, yeah, left back too, for whoever. Gonzalo
Yeah,
Ramos. João Felix, Pedro Neto, and Rafael Leao. I feel like
Big call up for Pedro Neto for sure.
yeah, that'll be very good to see. I hope I hope they go far.
Do
This
you hope they
Portugal
win it?
team's, you know, I got it back. I got it back the three Lions, but they will be a good team to look out for. Just because
Yeah.
because you have a couple of older players. You got Ronaldo and Pepe, super old, super know everything about the game, but is it too late for them? I mean, they've already won the Euros. They beat that France team, and which
Yeah.
you could argue that was one of the worst Portugal sides,
Yeah.
and they pulled it off. Like that, their stretch of games was one of the most awful fixtures I've seen. Winning games in pen, just scraping by, and then in the final you lose Ronaldo,
Yeah.
and then I think it was who was it Eder who scored the winning goal?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Quite unreal. A lot of movement coming up. After that, there's going to be, potential. You assume that there will always be injuries during the Euros, so we'll see what happens. There was talks of Kieran Trippier going down in a friendly that happened just a few days ago against Tottenham. We'll see what happens though. Um, getting into the significant transactions, the significant moves, the significant rumors that we've been hearing. We will start off with Pochettino leaving Chelsea on mutual decision, allegedly. Um, big shock. I think it is, as much as Chelsea fans called for it, as much as everything. Chelsea had an unbelievable run on the back half of the season to finish sixth place, and I mean they had made an appearance in a final for a domestic cup. To see that they came that far, the team backed this coach 100%. I felt like at the end of the day, we could see it with the posts, after he was released and whatnot. Um, but I mean, yeah. What are your thoughts?
my from what everyone is speculating, arguing is basically the owners want a yes man who will take what's given to him and make it work. And Pochettino was basically like, I want to say in what we're buying, what we're what what we're aiming for, and they just didn't see eye to eye, kind of like what happened with Tuchel, I guess. But I will say this: I know a lot of Chelsea fans on Twitter were calling for his head after we lost to Arsenal, and then after that game happened, we went into magical stretch of games where we just were winning and winning and winning, and so it kind of covered up that. So I don't know. It's bittersweet, mostly bitter,
Bittersweet.
just
Hmm.
because I wasn't a big fan of his tactics going in most of the season. I felt like we were just looking like a completely lost team, and there was no real end game in the style of play we were playing. And then finally, in that last stretch of games, we finally saw what we were hoping for, and we were seeing, Cucurella playing almost like a midfielder, which was bizarre to me because in preseason, what Cucurella was doing was what Mattson was doing for us in preseason.
Yeah.
And then we just completely never used him, and now he's playing in a Champions League final with Dortmund.
Yeah, quite
That's
unreal.
that's just me. And all I'm saying is, if he were to play like that in the beginning of the season with Mattson, we probably, arguably, we could have finished fourth. We should have finished fourth.
Yeah, small club mentality. So finishing in fourth, crazy. But no, I'm just kidding. Still a lot of big things about Chelsea now, uncertain. I mean, who's untouchable, who's not? They've said Cole Palmer, a handful of these young guys may be untouchables, but realistically, I mean, now I guess as a owner, you're still trying to establish, you know, I guess power of your regime. Basically, getting rid of Pochettino, a player that a lot or a manager that a lot of players backed. Kind of just goes to show. I guess it's either their way or the highway. Um, Allegedly, there's a video of Pochettino not shaking Todd Bowley's hand. Don't know if that was exactly on the final game after, but we'll see. But regardless, I mean, Pochettino, I can't blame him. He almost feels like he's in a Conte situation where he's trying to make the team as best as they could, but the owners, the management team, the men behind the scenes in suits are are not comfortable, but not, I guess, willing to do what it takes outside of what they want.
They want a yes man. That's all they want. They want
Yeah.
someone who's, who does what they're told.
Yeah, like you said, exactly. Um, but yeah, I mean,
So
we'll
now,
see what happens
back
with
to square
them.
one.
Literally back to square one after such a good run. Quite unreal. We'll see what happens with them, but a lot of question marks about Enzo, a lot of question marks about Connor Gallagher. Two big, big pieces in the midfield. Caicedo almost all but solidified himself in the team for the rest, for at least another year, maybe two. And then questions with Raheem Sterling. What's next for him? Noni Madueke, I mean, had a really good run of games. New manager comes in with the youngster. You never know, might fall through the cracks, might go on loan. Um, you really never know what will happen, but
Just signed that Brazilian wonder kid.
yeah.
It's all been confirmed. The manager from Palmeiras said he said Hendrick's going to Madrid and Esteval's going to Chelsea. Hopefully, teams don't come looking for another player because we're running out of players. So he
Yeah.
basically all but confirmed the deal. Um, yeah, it's like I get it. Buying a lot of players and hopefully that they can turn them around for a profit. You also have to look at what we as Chelsea fans are used to, which is winning trophies. You know, it used to be, you won a trophy, you keep your job. You lose, you don't win a trophy, you automatically get sacked, and that was what we were used to. And now we're trying to do this whole, um, find the right manager that fits our style of play. You know, because I guess one of the journalists leaked out that they want a manager that their full focus on is possession and having the ball at all times. And I feel like, is that not what we were playing?
Huh. Yeah. That's really what everyone tries to do nowadays. I mean, to not do that, is quite different. Not a lot of teams play that way these days. Shoot, I mean, we even see like Madrid quite a few times and play that way in big games where they're not in possession all the time. But it's quite rare to see that these days. Usually you're a full possession team, just like a lot of people trying to emulate, what Man City does to the best of their ability, what other teams can do in certain circumstances. But yeah, I mean, just quite unreal over what's happening with Chelsea. Just when you think they're headed in the right path with everyone on board, it all comes crumbling back to a restart. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving on to the next, we have Eric Ten Hag rumors that he could be leaving at the end of the season. That should all but be confirmed, following this Sunday. So maybe Monday or Tuesday afternoon, we'll hear something after the FA Cup final. But with the win or loss, I do expect him to be gone. Pochettino is linked to Manchester United.
He's linked.
Tuchel linked to Manchester United and Chelsea as well. Um, Company leaked to Chelsea, but looks like he's going to be going to Bayern.
De
Uh,
Zerbi got and left Brighton.
yeah,
That's another
Deserby
one.
did leave Brighton. Open to he would like to stay in the Premier League. He said. So we'll see what happens there. Um, yeah, I mean, shoot, there's a lot of question marks who could go to United. Southgate could potentially land the job if Ten Hag does end up getting fired or sacked. Where will Ten Hag go? We don't know. Um, could be in the Premier League, could be elsewhere. We're seeing a lot of management moves right now. West Ham did get theirs as well. Got a new coach, so we'll see what happens with the rest of these guys. But right now, Ten Hag's focused on the FA Cup final against Man City coming up this Sunday. I'm sorry, Saturday, 7 a.m. our time, Pacific time, and we'll see. But moving into the next part, we have question: who will get the Brighton job? Could it be someone from the outside? Company, nothing officially done. I'm sure he'd like to stay in one of the bigger leagues if Bayern doesn't work out. Could move there. Could see Pochettino move there. Endless possibilities for that Premier League spot. Could see some outside hires, maybe some proteges. We'll see what happens there. But, who knows? Klopp it's never officially been said that Klopp, I don't think he would coach in the Premier League again, but, well, not this soon, but he could go elsewhere. Um, Big question marks for Arsenal. Where do you move? Where do you go? What more could you physically do
Big name striker. I think
to
that's the
win
only
the
way.
title? Yes. And we've been talking about it for almost 2 seasons now. And for some reason, Arsenal feel the need to not pay what it's needed to pay to get that big name striker, and they've lost the league both times. So
Because
I
they
mean,
got Gabriel Jesus, and you know how many goals he had this season?
yeah, like two
4.
before.
He had 4 goals this season. That
Yeah,
was your big money signing that you signed for Man City. You're like, oh, we stole their best player. We got him for a bargain. And he gets 4 goals.
yeah. So quite unreal. Shoot, not necessarily that they need the biggest name striker, but they need a striker that scores goals. I mean, 10 goal striker, a 10 goal season striker would be huge. A 15 goal striker would be huge. If you could get a 20 goal striker, I mean that's the season for you. I mean, almost Solanke would be a good name. That's probably wouldn't cost you so much money. Ollie Watkins was a rumor middle of the season before Villa just absolutely went on a tear. A lot of
Tony,
talks about Oshiman, a lot of talks about Tony. Um, they need to get someone if they want to win the league. And I feel like they have to win the league this season, or it's going to be question marks for it that this next upcoming season. Then
hate watching.
yeah, they need a striker. That's the only thing that's going to do it for them, in my opinion. Tottenham, another big club, could they're challenged. I mean, first 10 games of the season unbeaten. Uh, I think for them, they just need depth. They have the players that I think they could do it, but they need a little bit more quality depth at this point, in my opinion.
I can honestly see Hoiberg leaving. I can see him leaving.
Yeah, there's been
He's been
talks about him
rumored.
leaving for
Yeah.
sure.
Um, Also rumors for a striker. They're still deciding. Oh, are they keeping Warner or not? That's right. That's still.
Yeah, it's still up in the air. Tony was one of the big names we've seen for them and Solanke as well. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it really just comes down, yeah, to depth. I mean, a player at each position that could back up, your world class players with semi world class or a sometimes world class player. I feel like they do have that in the attackers right now. Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, Huming Son. You have Lo Celso's been playing well. Uh, Lo Celso got the call up Argentina as well. He's back with their Copa America team. Richarlison's there. You have it in the attackers. Really missed it in the midfield when James Madison went out. Udagi when he went out. You know, Sergio Reguilon. They didn't want him. They loaned him out. Could have been a really good help. Once he came out, Reguilon played a majority of the season for Manchester United. Plays just about everywhere he goes. So, just some questionable decisions there. Uh, but I mean, we know Tottenham have a world class defense. Van de Ven's injury did set them back a bit. Christian Romero was injured for some time. Really just about getting some quality depth players will change the game for them in terms
Pedro
of
Porro looks
longevity.
good.
Yeah, Pedro Porro signing of the season, I think, for them, and as well as James Madison. We have Man United. I mean, in terms of that, I really think it just needs to come with the head coaching change. I think they have a good amount of players, need a little bit more depth, but you just need a morale change. That's all it is. This striker, I don't think is gonna do it. Or I'm sorry, this manager is not gonna do it. A lot of questions about Bruno Fernandes, what he's gonna do, if they're gonna sell him. They've been trying to get rid of Harry Maguire for a few years. No necessary takers so far, but I mean, we'll really see what happens. I think they need a lot of the main heads of the Premier League. I think they need the most work realistically. Figure out with the head coach first of all, in my opinion, to see where you want to go because they have a lot of good pieces to do so. You just need a good attitude in the locker room and a direction.
I think will splash big on Braithwaite from Everton.
Yeah, very
I
well.
feel like it makes the most sense. Or even I would say for Liverpool, that would be a big one. You know, have him next to Van Dijk for a year or two would be absolutely insane, and he would be such a huge center back for many years to come if that happens. But he
Yeah,
has all the potential.
yeah, 100%. Um, Moving on to the next team, I mean Aston Villa. They're in big talks right now, trying to get Araujo from Barcelona. They're trying to chase him. Would be absolutely huge. And what's crazy is if you look at Aston Villa, the season that they have an unreal amount of depth. They do at every position almost. It seems they may be a few pieces away. John McGinn's really good, but imagine if they had a full time playmaker like a James Madison, like a McAllister, um, even Schubert, a Schubert like type caliber player, in their midfield could be really, really good. Um,
They're linked with
that's what I
Ross
think.
Barkley, so that should be a good rotational squad player to have.
Yes, experience, quality of depth. They had Mings out the entire season. Konsa showed up, showed out. Had a really good season. Got the call up from England. But if they get Araujo, shoot, I mean Araujo, you're able to rotate him with Tony Ming or Terry Mings. Quite unreal. Pau Torres really never came to full fruition. But maybe as
Started
a
off good and then kind of
yeah, if you see though, like that Pau Torres is really someone like if one of your star players goes out, gets injured, he could step in and play really, really well for a couple of games. I think not necessarily an all season type of form player, but still can be really good at times. So just quality of depth. I think for them, they had a really good season. Finished in the Champions League spot. There's not much you can change, but they can have a few upgrades, and I think that's all they need to start to become legitimate more contenders every season. Next one we have is Chelsea. I think Chelsea just need, honestly, I mean, I thought they had it. I thought they had it. I thought this was going to be it. I thought next season Chelsea's going to be one of the teams to beat. And right now they just need a direction. That's all I feel. The experience is coming. They've had young players playing all but a full season. Um, and health in Cuckoo. I mean, 3 goals, 2 games. It's just about his health. Chukwemeka, absolutely one of the young up and comers, in my opinion, will be really insanely good, if he gets the chance. But coming with a new manager could bring a different regime. The youngsters could get smothered under whatever signings or whatever regime they have. So I just think they need direction. But the team of raw young talent like they have, they could be dangerous next season.
A
Not
healthy James. Let's hope.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I feel like we have no clue what Chelsea will need until we see what they're like under a new manager.
It's linked that from what I've been reading, one of the biggest reasons why they didn't get along is because Pochettino does not want to get rid of Gallagher, but the board does.
Yeah.
That was
Quite.
one of the main things. Obviously, you would hate a player like him to just get sold, but then you have to also see why he's getting sold for financial fair play. Same with Chalobah. Chalobah absolutely was insane the last month, and he's being linked away. We could see him move to the third team in the Prem.
Yeah, he was linked to Bayern, almost went there in the summer or in the winter.
In winter.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of questions for them. I feel like once we won't really know what they're doing until they get a manager. Um, Tuchel's linked back again. Would be quite weird, but maybe Frank Lampard will take the reins once again. Um,
Give me
just
Seth Fabregas. Give me Seth Fabregas.
Cesc Fabregas has been quite unreal. Former Chelsea player, learned from Pep, learned from Sir Alex Ferguson before as well. Uh, would be a really good one. That'd be
He
a really good one that not a lot of people are talking about.
he brought the team from the Serie B up to the Serie A.
Yeah.
He right before the championship Sunday, he was at the training ground. Yeah, maybe he knew, or maybe he was trying to scout a player to get loaned out to help next year.
Yeah.
And
We'll see. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
I feel like him coaching Enzo and Caicedo would be huge. I feel like because Enzo has all the potential in the world. You know, they call him like a Sask, like Pirlo, like Jorginho, like a mix of all these players. And I feel like he just needs that coach that could get the best out of him because, he was playing with an injury. He wasn't playing as good. And we saw Caicedo really shine this season. Absolutely insane. And we just need him, we need a coach that can put him in the right direction because Tony Cruz just retired and looks like he was a big fan of Tony Cruz, and who knows, maybe Madrid might want to snag him.
yeah.
And if they do snag him, he'll be absolutely unreal for them.
Yeah.
I know for a fact.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but a lot of questions for Chelsea. A lot of questions. Yeah, I feel still like I said, we won't know anything until we have a new manager there and see what happens. But moving into the next team, we have Arne Slot at Liverpool. Will be interesting to see the direction he takes the team. Will be interesting to see what happens with Mohamed Salah. If he decides to stay, what happens with Virgil van Dijk? Obviously, it seems he'll be there, but with manager changes comes a lot of uncertainty for players, for just veterans mainly. And, if the coach is trying to go with the younger squad, no matter who you are, we know this business. We saw Barcelona do Messi horrible, so if that can happen, anything could happen to anyone. So you never know what will happen. Um, but I think Liverpool do need to move away from the Salah.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Era.
I think he leaves. He was
Yeah.
linked last year, and I feel like that would have been the time to leave.
And he just posted a picture on Instagram, I believe it was yesterday, a book called Surrounded by Idiots. No
I
caption.
saw that.
Yeah. Surrounded by Idiots, no caption. I think that is another call for him to
Cry for
basically
help.
wants out. Yeah. Cry for help. But we'll see what really happens. He's been doing stuff like that since last season. So we'll see if he stays or goes. Darwin Nunez looks like big question mark for him. He could be leaving. Um, Not really sure why necessarily, in my opinion. He played quite well for them. Didn't always get the most playing time, but he was huge when he did get a come on. Uh, and new manager. We'll see what kind of regime he likes to play.
I see them signing like a. I think they're going to sign a winger. I definitely think Adoy can be one of those wingers.
Yeah, could be crazy. How would you feel?
It would hurt, but it makes sense. It happens.
It happens. How would it feel if they signed him and he just absolutely is obliterating the league?
It happens, buddy. You know, Liverpool saw it firsthand. They had Raheem Sterling straight from the academy, absolutely balling out. And then Man City comes, takes him away, and he goes on to win almost every trophy imaginable. He played absolutely insane.
Chelsea know a thing or two about letting go a star. That's for sure. The list goes on. Kylian Mbappe from the academy trial, Kevin De Bruyne, Mohamed Salah. I mean, just to name some of the biggest names in football, Chelsea know a thing or two about it. Yeah. Moving into the next one, we have Newcastle. What can they improve? I mean, I personally think,
Depth. I think 100%. We've said it
yeah,
from the beginning of the year. They just needed depth, and they didn't have it, which is why they fell so short. Um, just a couple players um, that can help out. You know,
yeah, and
Bruno
honestly,
Gomars is still linked away to PSG.
it's linked away to a few places. I mean, City want him, Bayern want him, PSG. Yeah, a lot of places want him allegedly. But there are bigger names than him out there, so I think he'll kind of fall off towards closer to the end of the transfer window. Um, just just because like teams will want to see who goes first, who goes where, and then Bruno would be one of those later ones, or if all those teams are kind of sleeping on him, I think PSG would be a really big team that would pursue him right off the bat, just because I mean we all know PSG is not, they're one of the biggest clubs, but they're not one of the most desired clubs, I'd say, to play for.
They're going to get Mbappe.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see. Um, yeah, but Newcastle, I mean, it seemed like at the beginning of the season they had the depth, few missed unfortunate, Tonali, uh, Callum Wilson missed just about most of the season. Didn't get the England call up like he usually does. Um, just getting a little bit older. Isak starred. I mean, imagine if you had Callum Wilson and Alexander Isak throughout the whole season. Could have been really big for them. Anthony Gordon had a few injuries. You don't really have anyone to replace him. Um, Miguel Amiron, not the best. You know, just depth, yeah, depth, quality of depth for sure. And then probably the last one in terms of teams or a few teams, Leicester. Leicester coming up, always dangerous. I think Leicester will stay in next season. I think they have a lot of the pieces right now. Drewsbury Hall, obviously, freaking yeah. I mean, Drewsbury Hall's still somewhat young. He's still in the mid 20s, I think mid to late 20s. He's still got some time to go. He's had the experience. Could be really good for them. Um, who knows what happens? Who knows what really happens with Ross Barkley? But one of these teams that are coming up could be going for him as well. Would be a good rotational piece. I think Chong potential. You know, leaving could leave Luton. He
Yeah.
played really well for them most of the season. Um, yeah, a lot of big names could go. Some of these, maybe these Forest guys too, that are leaving on loan could come up to one of these teams that are just coming up in the Prem, like Leicester. But Leicester always dangerous for me. Always, always dangerous. You also wonder what would happen with Crystal Palace, with the absolutely huge ending to the season. What they could do, what they will do, who they could get. Maybe a lot of links about Elisa and Eze leaving potentially just about all season, but after this start, could be really, really compelled to stay. Let's have a look at a couple key players. We already talked about Tony. Lucas Paqueta officially charged with fixing the outcomes of bettings with the yellow card, incidents. So he was hoping actually to get that cleared so that Man City would pursue him 100%. But right now, I mean,
They don't want to add 119 charges.
yeah, yeah, they don't want those extra charges, but we'll see what happens. Don't think he'll make a move after this, especially if it's not cleared up pretty soon. Another would be Pedro Neto. Could be big links for him. Could be big rumors. A lot of teams worried about his hamstring injury, that lingered throughout the season and then eventually led to his out to the season status. But really big name. We'll see him in the Euros too, so he has a chance again to make a name for himself. Keep pushing for that big transfer, and we'll see what happens. Ross Barkley, we talked about too. Aston Villa, big link, but could very well go to a different team. One of those teams that are coming up. Don't see him going down to the championship at all. I think he will stay in the Premier League from now on.
Breaking news for Man City fans: Scott Carson, new contract.
Till
He'll be
next,
back for another year.
yeah, he'll be back for another year. Ederson potentially linked to Saudi. Stefan Ortega Moreno could be our number one next season, but I'm sure we would be looking for a second, even though Scott Carson did renew. But would hate to see Ederson go. I think he'll stay. I do think he'll stay. Don't think he could leave. Hope he doesn't. Um, but another question would be, what can City do to maintain, to keep going, to win a fifth in a row? And me personally, I just think I mean, think about the team they have now. What could they really? I mean, they could add. Someone's always going to get left out.
The question is, from an outside point of view, is who's going to be your right back after Kyle Walker leaves? Is it going to be Rico Lewis, or do you go search for someone that can be a rotational player, or do you stick with one of your six center backs and play him at right back?
Lot of talks about Jeremy Frimpong returning to his boyhood club as Kyle Walker's replacement. Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of talks were trying to pull off the Florian Wirtz. Would be unreal.
He's
Don't
going
know
to
if
Madrid.
it'll happen. A lot of talks about Musiala as well. Um, Lucas Paqueta. Honestly, it really is. I think adding guys like that of quality and keeping the competition so high. Like, think about it. There's gonna be one or two new players to this team every year. Every year, there's one or two new players to the team. It's very rare that you don't add. We've seen it with Arsenal a few times, but
I saw one that if he goes to Man City, I'm done, buddy. I'm
who?
done. I saw Edson Alvarez being linked to Man City. Him in
The
a Rodri pivot. Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah,
Oh. And then four center
yeah,
backs right, right behind him. He never scoring.
yeah. We'll see what happens. A lot of players, getting a little bit older. De Bruyne, his future was uncertain
San Diego
recently as
FC.
well with Saudi, San Diego FC. Heck, who knows? Even Inter Miami might be going for him. Uh, but yeah, a lot of uncertainty. Bernardo Silva, a lot of uncertainty. Talks of him been wanting to go to Barca for years. Who knows if they have the financial ability to do so, but I think if the Barca door is open for Bernardo Silva, I think he will take it respectfully. So, I mean, that's where he's got a lot of family. Allegedly, his main hub is out of Barcelona. But we'll see. I think just adding the competition, these younger players coming into fruition like Phil Foden, Doku. By this time next season, or not even by this time, by the start of next season, I fully expect Doku to know how to pass the ball. With his weak foot and everything, I fully expect him to know how to pass the ball. He's so dangerous on the wings. Really, all he's missing is that final pass in the third to change his game and make him absolutely dominant. But I do have a Corvidal jersey coming in, a kit. I got the new Foden kit coming in as well in the home, and we'll see what happens with the away once it drops. But I will be there. Manchester City win it all again. We got to keep it going. I mean, people talk about history. We're living it. We're living it. I've said that time and time again. We're living the history. So talk however you want to talk. 5, 10 years from now, we all must have seen the video. If you come at Man City, you best not miss. Yeah. Anything else to add in the final episode of the season?
Probably still bald.
Pep is still bald. I'm sure he could pay for hair replacements. I know
Ten
Kyle
Hag,
Walker knows a guy. Uh,
Ten Hag bald too.
Ten Hag bald. Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. Chelsea's coming for it next year. Somehow, one way. James
Yeah,
Sancho's coming.
I would have said that, hours before Pochettino left, but I don't know now. But I do think that we are in for a ride. Only about 2 months to go until the next season. We have Euros in between that, Copa America in between that, Olympics in between that. Everything's set to go. Lamine Yamal, shoot, will be playing allegedly in the Olympics and the Euros. Big name to watch. England, my pick for the Euros. Argentina, my pick for Copa America. Olympics, I really Olympics, I think I would go Spain, realistically. Uh,
On England as
maybe
well.
maybe England. Yeah, that would be my next choice. But we'll see what happens. A lot of time to go, and
We still got our Champions League final to go.
Champions League final. We will not be here to talk about it.
Tony Cruz's last game.
Yeah. But also Marco Royce's last game.
But also, that's it.
Big game. Champions League.
Modric.
Modric just allegedly may stay. Allegedly.
Legend.
It's not about the money, he said. But either way, we will not be here for the Champions League final. That wraps up our English Premier League season.
Quick,
Yeah.
who wins? Who's winning? Who's winning the
Champions
cup?
League final going Dortmund.
So,
I'm going Dortmund 1-0. I am going Manchester City FA Cup final 4-1. And Europa League final, Leverkusen lost. Atalanta with the win 3-0. Hat-trick,
Lookman.
Lookman hat-trick. First hat-trick ever. Quite unreal. Leverkusen's invincible season still intact in asterisk terms, but still a better invincible season than the original Invincibles from Arsenal, who didn't win a single European trophy. Uh, so, I mean, I'd still give it to Leverkusen over. Of course, Granit Xhaka was happy to at least receive a medal because he's an former Arsenal mate. Happy with the loss. Small club mentality.
Walk.
Yeah, but those Leverkusen kits will hit next season with the gold, 100%. And Xabi Alonso reportedly staying. We will see. Shouts to everyone for the great Premier League season. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And hopefully, we will be back for another season in just a few short months. Thank you, everybody,
Thank you.
for
Every single
kicking
one
it.
of you.
Yes, with Gab
And Chooch.
and Chooch.
Signing off.
Signing off.